Please be seated. Madam President, the parties are assembled. Let the ceremony begin.
Good morning, and welcome to this beautiful campus on what's obviously a wonderful day, both weather and as to what we're about to begin to accomplish. It's wonderful to see so many of you gathered here today. I'd like to welcome each of you, my fellow trustees, friends, family of Dr. Trombley, faculty, staff, members, student, alumni, the 6 alumni delegates, each representing their respective graduations, and delegates of colleges and universities. It's with a great deal of excitement and pleasure that I welcome you to the University of Bridgeport for this auspicious occasion. During the university's 91-year history as an institution, we have inaugurated 9 presidents. Today we have the distinct privilege of inaugurating our 10th. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I am thrilled to oversee this ceremony. As Chair of the Board of Trustees, I thank you all for joining us on this historic day. We're truly honored by your presence and your participation. We'll now proceed with the ceremony, beginning with an invocation by the Reverend Jeffrey Von Arx, President Emeritus of Fairfield University, and thereafter a musical reflection performed by the university's gospel choir. I now invite Father Von Arx to the podium.
Let us pray. Oh God, we thank you for this wonderful day. We thank you especially for the University of Bridgeport and all that it has meant to generations of students over 90 years. This is an institution that has known tremendous growth and success and also significant challenges. And yet it has grown through those challenges to become one of the great success stories of American higher education and one of the most distinctive higher educational institutions in the United States. There are few institutions who have made such a dramatic transition from a regional university to a truly international destination, and so enriched the lives of its students from near and from afar. We thank you then for the gift of UB's students and all the rich diversity that they bring to the Bridgeport community. We thank you for the commitment of the faculty, staff, and administration who dedicate themselves to these students and to their success. We thank you for the many generous friends and benefactors of the university over the years who have made possible the wonderful experience that is now available to such a diverse student body. We thank you especially for the university's new president, Laura Skandera Trombley, whose inauguration we celebrate today, and we ask you to bless her. We acknowledge her in her great skill and experience, in her commitment and dedication as a great blessing to this university. And we ask you to continue to bless her in her goal of creating a tolerant, safe, and intellectual campus where people can come together for the common purpose of understanding themselves and the world to create a better life for all. All this we ask, O God, in your most holy name. Amen.
Oh, brick by brick, stone by stone, I'm building for my soul. Storms may rise and the winds, I'm building on. Oh, brick by brick, stone by stone, I'm building my soul.
Storms may rise,
And the winds.
may blow, building a home for my soul.
Oh, the Bible said that a man should earn his pay by the sweat of his brow in the heat of the day. I've been working all my life since a very early age. I got my cornerstone set and my foundation raised. Got my trowel in my hand, I'm lining straight. I have my mansion now, I ain't got no time to waste. Brick by brick, stone by stone, I'm building. Oh, brick by brick, stone by stone, I'm building for my soul. Storms may rise and the winds, I'm building on. Oh, brick by brick, stone by stone, I'm building a home for my soul. Storms may rise and the wind. Oh, yes, I'm building. Yes, I'm building. I gotta keep on working. I gotta keep on working. Oh, one of these mornings,
I'm building a home.
keep on working.
I'm building a home.
Keep on working.
I'm building a home.
Gotta keep on working. Oh, one of these mornings, it won't be very long. You gonna look for me, and I'll be gone. Gone on to heaven, sing and shout. Be nobody there to put me out. Gonna walk down that street that's paved with gold. I'm gonna put on my long white robe. I'm gonna sing and shout till the early morning. Hear my Savior say, a job well done. I wanna walk. Yes, I'm building. I gotta keep on working. I gotta keep on working.
Brick by brick, stone by stone,
I'm building.
for my soul.
We will now have a series of quick but very poignant remarks, starting with Mayor Joseph P. Ganem. Thereafter, we have the president of our Alumni Association, Ramon Peralta, our student government Summer Cruz, our faculty representative, William Way. So, Mayor Ganem.
Well, it's with a smile that I join you and note that it's not only my pleasure but my honor and privilege to participate and to be a part of and to admire today's activities, the installation of our new president. Madam President, to you, to Bob Hughes, Chairman of the Board of Trustees, and all the trustees, It's just another milestone and a great point to kind of pause, reflect a little bit on what this great university stands for, its history, but even more important than that, on that as a foundation, to look forward with a vision, as I know the new president has, where she and the board, with the faculty, and on behalf of all the students and others, want to take this university as it continues to grow, continues to be a beacon of light, a place for opportunities for learning for so many. On the first point, I stand here certainly as your mayor, on behalf as represented in the program, representing the community, to say welcome, and to say that there is an unwavering commitment, maybe more so than there has been in the past, to ensure that the city, as the host city with this university, not only continues the partnership, but builds on it and grows. Because for a variety of reasons. It's important as a center for higher learning, certainly to Bridgeport and to Fairfield County and the region and to the state and beyond internationally. But it's also important to the city itself, not only to recognize that to support what goes on here in the South End and to build on it. And as we build on it, so many benefit. I also do it from a perspective I've been given the honor to understand the challenges and the rewards of being, probably too gracious of a title, of being an adjunct professor, and to see the gleam in the eyes of young people that I hope looking back that I had at one point when I matriculated here, as you grasp a new concept, a new level of understanding or information that then becomes a part of your person and that you build on and hopefully go on to utilize in your life. So there's so much that's embodied in this transition. Madam President, to you and your vision, we share it, we will embrace it, and I will as mayor, to make sure that all the things that you and the Board of Trustees like to do and want to do, and that we think are good, will happen. Just a note here, I note so many, as we tie the community together, I think that the last one, as I see, when you build the university and maybe the political structure in the community in the city, the business community plays so critical a role as well. And I note and have enjoyed the benefits of what the Treves family have contributed to this university as they have to the city. It's this type of collective coming together and support that benefits so many. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. God bless, and many, many more great years, decades for this great university. Thank you.
Summer Cruz.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Student Government Association and our amazing student community at the University of Bridgeport, I am elated to welcome President Laura Skandera Trombley as our 10th president, as well as our second female president of the university. Ever since I had the chance to meet her on the first days on campus in April of 2018, her enthusiasm and fresh mindset filled the campus with a new beginning. Her many interactions amongst our student body within the past 8 months has been groundbreaking, and we have all felt the love and devotion she has for us. President Trombley exemplifies woman empowerment, student-centered innovation, and unity throughout our school, and the work that she has been put into our school thus far shows her dedication towards the betterment of the University of Bridgeport. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Summer. We now have Ramon Peralta from our Alumni Association, and an alumnus himself, obviously. Ramon?
Good morning. As your Alumni Board President and on behalf of all University of Bridgeport alumni, I am pleased to welcome Dr. Laura Trombley to serve as our new president. As UB students, and more importantly, as UB graduates, we alumni are expected to continue making a positive impact in the lives of those in our surrounding communities. As a member of many other boards here in the greater Bridgeport area, I can personally attest that in her short time here, She is already making her presence felt at many of the local fundraising breakfasts and dinner meetings held in our surrounding towns. Whether it's for the Cardinal Sheehan Center or the McGivney Center, or celebrating with our national champion women's soccer team with our local business community at the Bridgeport Regional Business Council dinner, Laura is putting her boots on the ground, making connections and spreading the good news of what is happening here at UB. She's leading by example. Please join me in welcoming our new president, Laura Trombley. Thank you.
We focus on many things at the university, but sometimes we don't focus on the people who make the daily lives of everyone go. On behalf of the staff, we have April Vernellis speaking to you today. April?
Good morning. As your Executive Director of Campus Security, and on behalf of the University of Bridgeport staff, it's my honor and pleasure to welcome President Laura Skandera Trombley to serve as the 10th president of our university. Dependability, passion, resourcefulness, patience, acceptance, integrity, loyalty, responsibility, compassion, bravery, generosity, perseverance, kindness, optimism, reliability, and self-discipline. Character traits that many of us live by, the same character traits that President Trombley has shown us since she has arrived on this campus. Education is about our students, and President Trombley recognizes it's not just about the educators that will touch our students, but is those in administration, security, facilities, housekeeping, and food services, to name a few, that play a big part in the success of our calling, our students' journey into the rest of their lives. She gives new life and energy to our UB family. UB blood runs in her veins and deep in her heart. Mark Twain said, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones that you do. So throw off the bow lines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. President Trombley is here to take us to where we are destined to be. Thank you.
Good morning. As Faculty Council President and on behalf of the University of Bridgeport faculty, I'm pleased to welcome Dr. Laura Trombley to serve as President of our university. In her scholarship and remarkable professional career, Dr. Trombley combines a deep interest in the humanities with a commitment to international understanding that matches wonderfully with the historical ethos of our university. At the same time, the UB faculty also represents the cutting edge of education in other fields, such as business, engineering, education, health sciences, and other areas of human endeavor. And President Trombley has demonstrated her capacity and willingness to support our university mission in all those areas. In brief, I believe that it is remarkable good fortune, a heavenly wind, that brings Dr. Trombley and the University of Bridgeport together at this moment. And the UB faculty is pleased to work together with her to bring a renewed flourishing of this great institution. Thank you. Nelson E. Trombley Jr., President Trombley's son, will now come forward to deliver his greetings.
Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to thank you all for coming today. My name is Nelson Trombley Jr., and I would like to address my remarks today to all of the students in the audience and at home watching. Let me tell you what it's like to be the child of your new president. First, the one bite rule, a quintessential part of my upbringing. Early on, my mother forced me to follow in her adventurous footsteps with the introduction of a simple idea. No matter what food was put in front of me, no matter where we were, no matter how it looked or how it smelled, I would have to take at least a single bite. Most of you have probably never heard of sweetbreads, but as a child, when I saw that as a main course at a restaurant, how could I have not ordered it? Imagine the look on my face when the plate was brought out and instead of loaves of sugary breads, it was a pile of pancreas and throat bits. I still had to take a single bite. Next, let me tell you a little about AYSO, the American Youth Soccer Organization of Iowa. While nobody ever explicitly told me the rules of soccer, it didn't stop my mom from encouraging me to play the game. I was 5 years old when I scored my first point, and unfortunately, it was on my own goal. But that didn't seem to faze her as she cheered anyway. Finally, I was 18 years old and graduating high school, overweight, antisocial, and without direction. She turned to me as if I were Ishmael and Moby Dick and said, "Son, you're going to sea." I still haven't told her about everything that happened on that sailboat, especially the surprisingly frequent brushes with death, but I will tell you one story. One day, while approaching port, we noticed a squall in the distance, and it was upon us within 10 minutes. As most of the trainees ran below deck, a few of us stayed with the crew. We faced the storm. With the boat at an angle most would only experience while facing Everest, we had to scurry along the deck, dropping and storing sails all by hand. We had to save the ship. So students, why am I telling you all of this? Whether you're ready or not, you are now part of our family. University of Bridgeport, be prepared for her to challenge you. She will encourage you to open yourself up to the world by taking at least one bite. She will cheer for you even in your failures, and she will help you become stronger, more powerful, and more confident than you ever thought possible. She will be sitting next to you at the table. She will be the person cheering in the stands, and she will be waving as you set sail. Thank you, Mom, for everything you've done for me and for everything that you will do for the University of Bridgeport.
You've probably heard from the person who knows Laura the best, but a very close second is her 30-year friend, Professor Ann Ryan.
By which I'm assuming Bob means I'm just 30 years old. So, right? Okay. In his 1891 essay on criticism and fiction, William Dean Howells settles, after a good bit of wrestling with the Brahmins of American culture, on three qualities that transform the written word into literature. Qualities that turn a mere scribe into an artist: the simple, the natural, and the honest. Without these views, according to Howells, a written work may be entertaining or profitable, but it can never be a work of art. Howells writes, "I am not afraid to say now that the greatest classics are sometimes not at all great, that what we profit by them is only when we adhere to a strict accounting." In just one sentence, Howells dismisses the purple prose that celebrates gods and goddesses, the so-called great books that no one reads, the stories that make us, the reader, feel small and unimportant. It's this profoundly democratic, profoundly contemporary view that made it possible for Howells to hear, in the barely literate, hardly civilized voice of Huckleberry Finn, a yearning and a sorrow that transcends time and place. It's what made it possible for Howells to recognize the genius of Mark Twain, a self-promoting, hungry clown, only slightly more tamed than the fictional child he conceived. When I was asked to join this esteemed gathering to celebrate the inauguration of my dear friend and fellow Twain scholar, Laura Skandera Trombley, I thought first not of Twain, but of this passage from the literary criticism of William Dean Howells. As a scholar, Laura has never been interested in hagiography, nor is she interested in building monuments to saints or heroes. Unfortunately, this lack of romance puts Laura at a great disadvantage in the world of Mark Twain studies. Why? For everyone from high school students to casual readers to trained scholars, Mark Twain is an emblem of what's best in America, a white-clad saint who affirms the better angels of our nature. The name Mark Twain has christened Little League baseball fields, elementary schools, marketed everything from beer to scented candles, appeared on any number of signs in front of dozens of motels, diners, and restaurants, up to and including the Mark Twain Casino and RV Park in LaGrange, Missouri. In this regard, Mark Twain is unique in the American literary canon, a commodity as marketable as Coca-Cola or Nike. I mean, Emily Dickinson may be our greatest poet, for example, but she has yet to be honored with her own whiskey label or putt-putt golf course. Imagine then, given the cultural and professional pressure at work to tell some other story about Mark Twain, imagine the determination it takes to insist that we tell the truth, and not just about Mark Twain, but the truth about the nation in which he lived, the nation that continues to venerate him. Imagine what it takes to insist that we embrace Twain's frailty and his failings, that we read Mark Twain in the context not of his popularity, but of his humanity. In the biographies and literary criticism she has written, and perhaps more importantly, in the classes she's taught, Laura has revealed Mark Twain as a flawed and wounded man, struggling with and against the consciousness of these flaws, and in the midst of such struggles, producing art that speaks to our shared humanity. She's given us what Mark Twain himself celebrates, the truth, in all its bruised and fragile beauty. Sam Clemens could never have become Mark Twain, as Laura has so brilliantly and so often demonstrated, without the support of his loving and insightful wife, Olivia Langdon, without his personal assistant, Isabel Lyon, without Katie Leary, the Irish housekeeper who lived with the family for decades, without Marianne Cord, the freed slave who shared with Twain her wisdom. Under Laura's careful gaze, through her dedicated research, she has revealed a story about a great artist, about an inspiring genius that is also a story about family and about community. A simple story, at heart, a human story, a true story. And this, finally, may be what makes Laura Skandera Trombley such an ideal choice to lead the University of Bridgeport into the future. Since her earliest days as a scholar, Laura has gravitated not just toward the individual genius of some gifted artist, but also toward the people who make genius possible. In the hidden recesses of libraries and archives, Laura has found greatness, integrity, and originality in what others somehow didn't see at all. She understands implicitly that whatever genius may be, it is not the product of a singular imagination. It's a quilt woven from disparate threads of experience and history. Where others hear just one voice, Laura hears a chorus. You, the students, the staff, the faculty, the administration of the University of Bridgeport, you are that chorus. In the great diversity and talent of this remarkable institution, in the creativity and passion that has fueled it for generations, Laura Skandera Trombley will find a story that needs to be told, a work of art that will be celebrated. Thank you.
We will now hear from Tom Healy, poet, friend of Laura's, and the former chair of the J. William Fulbright Scholarship Committee. Mr. Healy.
Good morning, Bridgeport. It's my joy to share an ode this morning for my good friend Laura, for the chorus of her family and friends, and for this great university and city. O Bridgeport, think of the circle, the shape of gathering, the arc of praise, the wrist-flicked spin of a frisbee, the rounded crust stuffed with processed joy curves of a Subway sandwich. Oh, hungry Bridgeport, mouth of the laconic, eyes on the clock of a century of 8-hour days, And just one day before we mark the passing of that Shakespeare of advertising, the greatest showman who left here tomorrow, 118 years ago. Oh, Bridgeport, city of sweat, city of giants, jugglers and musicians, city of corsets and steamships, saddles, typewriters, sewing machines, and harpoons, city of the long playing round sound of vinyl records, city of the sound itself, estuary of ambition and arrival, the rhythm of tides, the wax and wane of supermoons, city of park, city of bridges and their ceaseless crossing between old ghost tales and future love stories. Oh, Bridgeport, on this day in between, not winter, not really spring, not yet, no longer damp nor dark, but still just a bit fuzzy about what's up and what will be. Here in your grand museum, menagerie, caravan, and hippodrome, all of us are wearing, at least in our hearts, on our sleeves, maybe even tattooed, the city's favorite shirt, lived in, frayed at the cuffs and collar, passed down, passed on, and monogrammed over that heart, UB. Though that's stretching it because it's more likely to be a t-shirt or a dope new hoodie, but it's the pride of classrooms where theories, dreams, and practical complications are born, in labs, stages, and studios of experiment, anxiety, all-nighters, affairs, parties, and salted ambitions. But also, when you say them, those two letters sound like pretty damn good words of advice. You, be, exist, become, struggle, thrive, lead the joyfully uncertain way, shape the circle of all of us, learning to be who we are with one another. Oh, Bridgeport, how beautiful to wake in the chill gray circle of questions, to celebrate the day giving way to warmth, to praise all that is and will be blossoming here. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom, Nelson, and Ann, for your remarkable remarks and for your warm greeting to our soon-to-be formally inaugurated president. The time has now come for the president to receive the official symbol of her office. So I'd like to have David Norton and Tom O'Hara proceed. The president's medallion with its supporting chain symbolizes the authority of the president. Messrs. and trustees O'Hara and Norton will now place the president's medallion around her neck, the formal investiture of her office. Gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I now present Laura Skandera Trombley, the 10th president of the University of Bridgeport.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you and good morning. I'm incredibly moved by those kind words, and I appreciate all of you coming today on this beautiful, beautiful spring day. On the campus of the University of Bridgeport, nestled alongside Seaside Park, on the edge of Long Island Sound, across the street from the only remaining home built by P.T. Barnum, located in the historical city of Bridgeport, here in the Nutmeg State, where Mark Twain spent his happiest years. I extend greetings to you all, and I'm as delighted by your presence as I am honored, and I am deeply, deeply honored. Today marks a passage in my life
as well as in this institution's history and future. I'd like to begin by thanking the great work of the Inauguration Committee, in particular Ashley Prezina and Sarah Connolly, Jessica DePalmer, George Estrada, Christine Harkins, Steve Haley, Kevin Kelleher, Bill Lay. See, my son made me cry, so it's all just going to pieces at this point. Denise Pundy, Tarek Sobe, and Stephen Wright. And our events, food service, facilities, security staff, custodial, for all of their efforts today. Please join me in thanking them. Welcome to everyone here today and to those more distant members of the University of Bridgeport community who are watching via the World Wide Web. I want to recognize the faculty, the students, staff, my administrative cabinet, the trustees, community leaders, and in particular our mayor. Spring is always my favorite time of the year. April is the month when my son was born. Spring, the season of renewal, rebirth, and regeneration. A favorite poet, Rilke, summed up the feelings that this time of year brings forth. Spring has returned. The earth is like a child that knows poems. There is a joy, a freshness, a rush of anticipation. The University of Bridgeport is my constant spring. At a moment such as this, I think of my mentors and dear colleagues, many now gone, who played such a large part in why I'm so fortunate to stand before you today. I think of the sumptuous talent that is alive and well with all of us now. I think of the commitment and dedication of the faculty here, passionate about their teaching, their research, and their service. I think of the astonishing young students from whom I draw energy and hope every day. I think of the opportunities ahead for our students, and I commit all of my efforts on behalf of your brilliant, yet to be realized careers and futures. I think of my life thus far and all of the friendships I've been so fortunate to enjoy, and I'm deeply moved that my friends, family, and colleagues, some of whom I've known for nearly 30 years, who've given so much of themselves, both personally and professionally, are here on this special day to share my joy. I'm deeply, deeply thankful. We're gathered together today for a shared purpose, to celebrate the gift of teaching and the love of being taught. This is not a new venture for us. Indeed, this life cycle has been in place at this university for 91 years now, yet it is renewed with each entering class and every graduation. Our mission here is a simple one. In the words of a classic folk song, we aim to teach your children well. And we know that these lessons become legacies. They stretch long past our stint on Earth, on and on into Einstein's great continuum, where we will all be together beyond the reach of time. I learned early on how an inspired teacher can enrich and transform a life. Now, this might be a bit of an unlikely story to tell, surrounded as I am by such distinguished individuals in the company of our extraordinary students. However, if you'll indulge me, I'd like to share my first memory of what it means to be taught, of that powerful, magical alchemy that happens when a gifted teacher encounters a willing student. I was a preschooler, and my father, John Skandera, a fifth grade teacher at the 98th Street School in Los Angeles, had decided that the time had come for me to learn how to tie my shoes. My father told me the story of the bunny ears, how to form them, how they disappear, first to the left, then to the right, re-emerging from their burrow, united at the end. My scuffed up kids were suddenly transformed into a fairy tale landscape. We practiced again and again until my father hugged me with delight and congratulated me on my sublime accomplishment. My father, the most gifted teacher I will ever know, understood that it wasn't simply enough to empower me with a skill. He fueled my imagination with metaphor and narrative. He gifted me with a story that connected him to me, a simple story that would eventually connect me to my son, and someday, subtle hint here, it will connect me to my grandchildren. Whether the subject is macroeconomics in our Trev School of Business, coding, AI, and robotics in our School of Engineering, nursing in our College of Health Sciences, creative writing in our College of Arts and Sciences, or the history of modern architecture and urbanism in our Akatsu School of Design, no matter what the content might be, teachers are storytellers, and you, our students, are our narrative. Teachers like my father, they spark the imagination, they inspire self-confidence, they create intellectual legacies, and they shape the future. My father taught me how to tell a joke, how to drive a stick-shift car, and how to balance my checkbook. My mother taught me how to read, how to cook, how to embroider, and that women are leaders. She was an elementary school teacher and then a principal for 20 years, during a time when women in administrative positions were a rarity. My parents taught me how to speak up for myself, how to speak up for others in need, how to listen with care and with empathy, and how to take action and encourage success. They taught me well. And those lessons weren't reserved just for me. They taught generations of children well. This past September, I was invited to attend in my father's place his 5th grade class's reunion from 1957, 51 years after he had taught this particular group of students. His students remembered him fondly, the lessons he taught them, and most importantly, the care and attention he gave them. Amazingly to me, most of those students were also my mother's students. She had taught them in 1st grade. The class of 57 spent a few wonderful hours reminiscing and telling me stories about my parents I'd never heard before, yet they had not dimmed over half a century. Teach your children well, and they shall teach theirs, and the ripple effect will cover the world with light, kindness, and hope. As I take up this great honor and responsibility that you have entrusted in me, I think of my parents' lessons and the abiding power of their good example. I also think of the University of Bridgeport's faculty's commitment to teaching, inspired, rigorous, transformational teaching that has never been more valuable or more vital. These are tough times, as my favorite musical group, Punch Brothers, sing in their hauntingly beautiful ballad, This Is the Song, Good Luck. We are caught within an endless 24-hour news cycle with never a day off. We are inundated with images and sound bites of tragedy and terrorism, of alienation and incrimination, of fabrication and frustration. We long ago bid adieu to our agricultural and industrial ages of my grandparents and parents, which reluctantly gave way to my generation's supercharged information age. The information internet age promised us connectedness. My son was born to the rallying cry of we want more bandwidth, data in Olympian proportions, access to knowledge heretofore impossible to imagine, and all served with a heaping helping of a borderless commons where we could all share our thoughts, insights, and speculations. Yet it hasn't necessarily worked out that way. Sure, there are benefits, such as YouTube videos of bulldogs and babies laughing at Kleenex, although this encouraging commons has given birth to a perilous cyberspace where there are no holds-barred bullies hiding within the web of social media. Their action is brutal, intended to harm and destroy, rather than encouraging a safe place for civil discourse. I recognize that this technology has brought us extraordinary benefits. I'm certainly no Luddite. I delight in reading Mark Twain's letters now that have been digitized. When I began in this particular area of scholarship, I would have to write a letter to the Mark Twain Project at UC Berkeley, wait for their response, and then travel there, which would create cost for me as a graduate student. That created an extraordinary barrier. Now, archival materials are available to me at a keystroke and has made my research so much more possible and so much richer. When I teach, as I will do here next spring, pedagogical tools such as Canvas allow me to post grades and readings and assignments in real time that will foster greater communication with my students. Now pundits are claiming that we have moved beyond the information age and we are now in the experience age, a combination of the digital and the experiential. Your apps can track every step you take and every calorie you eat. The online world of Amazon's one-click service has set a standard for all businesses, and the GPS nirvana of self-driving cars is upon us. A utopian view of the experience age would be to conclude that we are now wrapping data within context, with the goal being that we can share our experiences to create greater happiness. Perhaps we will become closer than ever to achieving life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Whatever label we might give it, we are living in a hyper, self-focused age, awash in images of the self, an age of continuous self-reflection. 24 billion selfies were uploaded last year, and millennials will take an estimated 25,000 selfies in their lifetime. The students I taught last year told me that they fear they are in the grips of an addiction to their handheld devices. Students today are arguably the best connected generation in history, and yet they also claim to be the loneliest. As the Punch Brothers sing, "These are tough times, but we'll get by. Good luck. This is the song where you speak up. This is the song where you get moving." Our university finds itself in the most competitive environment ever for higher education, with small New England colleges disappearing from the higher education landscape, increased competition from online educational providers, tuition costs and student debt ever increasing, and a decrease in the college age birth rate due to the Great Recession, we must be mindful of all of these current challenges. Together, we realize that change is not just inevitable, but crucial for our future and success. Founded in 1927 as the Junior College of Connecticut, the first two-year college in Connecticut, 20 years later, the college expanded into a four-year institution in 1947, then named the University of Bridgeport. Over the years, the tide of fortune has ebbed and flowed for UB and for the city of Bridgeport. Since our start, we have been innovative and entrepreneurial, and we have taught generations of students well. We must be ever bolder, more determined, and increasingly innovative. We are fortunate to have a breadth of educational platforms, 3 distinct colleges, thriving online programs, as well as one of the most beautiful locations on any coast, east or west. Our student population today is approximately 5,000, with the majority undergraduate. The preponderance of our students come from Connecticut, with the rest from the tri-state area and from around the world. Over the years, the university has been blessed with a large percentage of international students, both at the undergraduate and graduate levels. The majority of our students come from first-generation families, and over half of our students are students of color. This is the time when we come together as a community and as a university and engage in what every child instinctively knows from the moment of their birth, the love of learning. Teach your children well. This is the time when we work with each other, actively listen to each other, and move forward with integrity. We all share the rarest of things here, greater than any precious mineral or metal, the luxury of thinking. We talk about a subject, read it, research it, write about it, and think about it. We have dedicated spaces on campus where that is all that we ask students to do, just think. And students are asking me to create even more places on campus where they can think. As one admirable graduate business student and working mother of 3 urged me, please keep the library open on weekends. That is the only time I have in my life to sit and think. I've often thought on my morning walks by Long Island Sound how ideally situated UB is, a buffer between the vibrant world to our west and the quiet horizon at our east. We often hear higher education derided as an ivory tower, a place apart from the so-called real world. Yet that might be one of the gifts of education, is to keep the noise and clutter and chaos of the world at bay for a little while, so students can clearly and patiently think with focus. A classroom is a kind of temple in that way, an oasis where students and teachers meet to explore, to examine, and to wade into mysteries and problems of all shapes and sizes, from tying your shoes to splitting an atom. Our campus turns even the busiest of students into a patient observer of the times and seasons. Last fall, I had the pleasure of speaking with first-year students in their residence halls, and I asked one group what their greatest surprise was in coming to the University of Bridgeport. I was anticipating that I might hear getting a roommate or perhaps becoming used to our food. Instead, all of the students agreed that it was the overwhelming presence of wildlife. The turkeys, they said. Have you seen the turkeys? They told me they walk out in the mornings to watch the birds fly, our campus fox run on the grass, our white squirrel scamper from tree to tree, and the deer disappear into the bushes. I was struck by their appreciation of natural elements still remaining around us in this previously industrial space, this fragile ecosystem, just 3/5 of a mile from I-95. What else surprised you, I asked? The silence. This is a generation seldom without noise in the background. A young woman from the Bronx told me that at first she was afraid of the silence, and now she welcomes it. She says, I can't find it at home, and now I understand it actually helps me to think. Thinking is the oxygen we breathe here, and it is coming in ever shorter supply. Our students are brave, and they are serious, and they are beautiful, and they are smart. In the conversations we have been having this year, I'm often reminded of a line from Joan Didion's great work, Slouching Towards Bethlehem. People with self-respect exhibit a certain toughness, a kind of moral nerve. They display what was once called character, a quality which, although approved in the abstract, sometimes loses ground to the other, more instantly negotiable virtues. Character, the willingness to accept responsibility for one's own life, is the source from which self-respect springs. This is a place with character. As one engineering student shared with me, we are not like students at other places. We have no time for foolishness. We are serious. We're here to learn from our faculty, to have careers, and to take care of our families and our communities. Our students come here to create legacies. Students, we are delighted, we are thrilled, and we're honored that you are spending part of your lives with all of us. We offer career-oriented programs here. We are entrepreneurial, and our faculty is extraordinarily hardworking. New majors and programs are constantly being vetted and under consideration. In closing, I've been most fortunate in my life. I've been taught well and patiently by teachers, family, and friends. I've seen times of success as well as failure, and I'll always continue to learn and to grow. As I constantly try to get in better physical condition, I also try and develop my inner self as well. I've had the unlikely gift of nearly dying, and my takeaway from that experience over a decade ago was realizing what is important for me for the remainder of my life and what is not. You are the most important, all of you. I've learned through interesting and unpredictable and exciting times to take nothing for granted, to not be afraid, and to not allow anything to derail me from using my voice, my intellect, and my passion for education. In closing, I'd like to express my gratitude to my partner, Bruce Raven, who kindly and steadfastly has always been at my side, even if it means riding a camel through the Judean desert or helping me learn how to walk again after a hip replacement. And to my son, Spark, who is and who will always be my greatest teacher, because without him, I would never have learned what true love is. Thank you so much.
You who are on the road must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye.
Tender years can't know the fears that your elders knew by. So please help them with your youth. They seek the truth before they can die.
Don't you ever ask them why.
Thank you for that wonderful performance. And thank you, President Trombley, for her very thoughtful remarks on this historic day for the University of Bridgeport. We're thrilled that she is now officially a Purple Knight. Before we move to close, I would say that I had the privilege of chairing the search committee that brought Laura Trombley to Bridgeport. And during the period of time between the conclusion of the search and her arrival on campus, I was asked, how did you select out of so many? From the day that Laura walked on campus, that question has not been asked. You now understand why. I now invite you to join us in the singing of the Alma Mater.